This is the blessing of which Moses, this man of God, blessed the people of Israel before his death. He said, "The Lord came from Sinai and dawned upon Seir upon us. He shone forth from Mount Paran. He came from 10,000 of the holy ones with flaming fire in his right hand. Yes, he loved his people. All his holy ones were in his hand. So they followed in your steps, receiving direction from you. When Moses commanded us a law, a possession for the assembly of Jacob, thus the Lord became the king of Jerusalem. When the heads of the people were gathered and all the tribes of Israel together, let Reuben live and not die, but let his men be few. And then he said of Judah, Hear, O Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring it to his people. With your hands contend for him, and be a help against his adversaries. And to Levi he said, Give to Levi your Thummim and your Urim, and your godly one, whom you have tested as Massah, and whom you have quarrelled at the waters of Merib, who said of his father and his mother, I regard them not. He disowned his brothers and ignored his children, for they observed your word and kept your covenant. And they teach Jacob your rules and Israel your law. They put incense before you and the whole burnt offerings of your altar. Bless, O Lord, his substance, and accept the work of his hands. Crush the loins of his adversaries and those who hate him, that they rise not again. And of Benjamin he said, The beloved of the Lord dwells in safety. The high God surrounds him all day long and dwells beneath his shoulders. And of Joseph he said, Blessed by the Lord be his land, and the choicest gifts of heaven above, and of the deep that crouches beneath, with the choicest fruits of the sun, and the rich yield of the months, with the finest produce of the ancient mountains, and the abundance of the everlasting hills, with the best gifts of the earth and its fullness, and the favour of him who dwells in the bush. May these rest on the head of Joseph, on his part of him who is prince among his brothers, a firstborn bull. He has majesty. His horns are the horns of a wild ox, and with them he will gall the peoples, all of them to the ends of the earth. They are 10,000 of Ephraim, and they are thousands of Manasseh. And of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and Issachar in your tents. They shall call peoples to the mountains. There they offer the right sacrifice, for they draw from the abundance of the seas and the hidden treasures of the sand. Blessed be he who enlarges Gad. Gad crouches like a lion. He tears off arm and scalp. He chose the best of the land for himself, for there were commanders' portion was reserved. And he came with the heads of people, and with Israel he executed the justice of the Lord and his judgments for Israel. And of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's cub that leaps from Bashan. And Nephalati he said, O Nephalati, sated with favour and full of the blessings of the Lord, possess the lake and the south. And of Asher he said, Be blessed of sons, be Asher. Let him be the favourite of his brothers, and let him dip his foot in oil. Your bars are of iron and of bronze, and as your days, so shall your strength be. There is none like God, O Jerusalem, who rides through the heavens to your help. Through the skies of his majesty, the eternal God is your dwelling place, and underneath are his everlasting arms. And he thrusts out the enemy before you and said, Destroy. So Israel lived in safety, Jacob lived alone, and the land of grain and wine, whose heavens drop down dew. Happy are you, O Israel, who is like you, a people saved by the Lord, a shield of your help, and the sword of your triumph. Your enemies shall come fawning to you, and you shall tread upon their backs.